Of course, it would rain as soon as we want to do anything outside.
Yeah. It's perfect weather like
Perfect.
20 minutes ago.
Perfect weather. This thing is so much wider than my other car.
Yeah, for sure.
So I figured we'd, as you can hear, it's raining. We'd bring it inside and kind of go over this car a little bit. You guys may know it from all the drift demos we did with RTR. Me and RTR trying to do some more things outside of the physical events that I go to with them. So they sent this to me so I can drive it at park and some demonstrations, and also allow people to come drive it at the school. So I'm gonna give you guys a once over and tell you guys a little bit more about it. Low car life.
Yeah.
I figured if we were going to build a car that was a demo car, we were going to put it on 20s and have it be insanely low. I know it's not crazy low to everyone's standards, but the side skirts are only like 2.5 inches off the ground. And I jump this thing in like every demo I do, so it's a balance of the two.
Yeah. As low as you can really be.
Yeah.
Without destroying it every time you drive it.
So yeah, so this is a 2014 pre-production car. So it doesn't really have it has a VIN and all that stuff, but it never is allowed to be driven on the street or anything. So unfortunately, most of the time when you see me doing anything with it, I'm trailering it places, enjoying it there, and then bringing it back, which is kind of a bummer because it does have full interior, caros, Navi, all that stuff. But you can't drive it on the street.
Yeah.
So yeah, outside is it's obviously got the Pennzoil wrap, RTR over fenders, RTR side spats, our FD car canards. This is a very, very similar kit to our FD car, just a little bit different width-wise. So like exterior-wise, it's pretty similar. Front lip, which we got a little bit of fun having there. RTR grill, and it's actually got a GT 350 rear wing, which I like a ton, but it had a gurney flap on it from RTR, but I lent the car to Lauren Healy, and he ripped the gurney flap off, so I'm waiting on another one of those. Centerline 20s, and I think I run to G2, but it's kind of a specific size, and I think it's so worn out from me doing backies in it last. But it's like a 245/35 in the front, and then a 275/40 in the rear. A little bit more diameter, that helps us out with everything grip-wise, because this thing is heavy. It's probably 250 pounds heavier than a stock Mustang, and we'll kind of go into detail on why here in a minute. Under the hood, doesn't look like much, but Illuminator 5-liter, so it's not just the factory Mustang motor. Forged pistons, rods from Ford Performance factory. Stock radiator. We did add an oil cooler, but the stock radiator works great. Like, yeah. 220, 230 water temp, like really, really beating the crap out of it. Cools right down to 190 in about 2 or 3 minutes. So before we load another person in the car, it tends to come back down again. Big oil cooler on there, well sizable considering it's about the same surface area and holds about as much as the radiator does. Long tube headers, I think they're American Racing ones, K&N drop-in filter, and a lot of people upgrade the intake on these cars and they actually don't really make much more power, like maybe 1 or 2 horsepower, but they get heat soak, and for us that's the biggest thing. Like, sure, on the dyno it makes 3 horsepower, but after 5 laps, what does it make? Less, probably.
Right.
You know. And my biggest thing is, like, as these newer cars get hotter, they pull timing, and then you lose all that mid-range in response. So
yeah, so the benefit doesn't really, like you have a cool intake or whatever, but it's not actually physically cooler.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And it's got a cool like ram snorkel that comes up front right to the grill hole, so like the air literally goes right into the grill hole there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been decatted and it's got 3-inch exhaust. We'll check that out in a second. And then obviously some of you guys probably saw this madness. guys who own new cars see this and they're like, yeah, I know what that is. People with older cars have no idea. This is so the handbrake works. Basically, it's all just teed in and out of the ABS module. It looks like it's a mess, but it's very simple to do it this way. And you just have an inline handbrake, one that goes to the master, one that comes out of the master that's in the car, which I'll show you in a minute. And then we got BCs, they're just single adjustables, a little more stroke, a little more spring rate in the front. I think on this we're running a 10 in the front, which normally I think the off-the-shelf kit's an 8, just to get a little bit more front roll stiffness. But yeah, so the motor makes probably about 450 or 460 wheel, so like over 500 crank, and it revs about 8,200 RPM. So underneath we have SPL arms here, and this is funny because this is actually like an E90 kit. So you buy basically SPL's Mustang kit. It's very similar to their E90 kit, just the hardware is different. Because the suspension geometry and how it all works is insanely simple and insanely similar to E90, just bigger bolts and a little bit more aggressive hardware. So we've got that, and then just a chopped knuckle. So it just has actually Russell Walker did these, Walker fabrication. So he's got quite a bit more, we got quite a bit more angle, not a ton, but you know, oh gosh. It's so heavy and so high right now, I can't even turn it. I'll show you guys when we get it on the ground. And then still have electric steering, which is okay, and like a bunch of different things written on it that I don't really know. That'd be a good question for my crew that used to maintain the car. RTR Sway Bars, and those are typically set to the middle setting for cars like this because we're still strut mounted, so there's lots of leverage on it there. The arms are lengthened. We have a little bit more caster than factory. But basically this is just to get rid of having a bunch of rubber going on in there. But it's still dual pivot, as you can see here. So it's still S550 front suspension, no changes there. This is like the new Z stuff, how they have like a dual pivot. It's kind of a weird driving feel. But we are developing a new steering kit for these cars, and we should have it out in probably about a month or two, which will be exciting, and I'll do some content creation on that. Big Brembos with power stop pads. It's about to get loud again because it's raining. Welcome to the Northwest. But yeah, long tubes, and then what's really cool about this car is it has a Magnum T56 in it. So it's got a badass gearbox that will take anything you can throw at it. XD clutch setup. I think this is a single plate in here now. So you can see that. So this is obviously a demo car, so it's meant to just run forever. So the motor is pretty simple, but everything attached to it is extreme. So we got that, and we got drive shaft shop, solid drive shaft, aluminum. And then we got a Ford 9-inch back here instead of the factory diff. So it's got a 9-inch kit from Drive Shaft Shop. 1,000+ horsepower drive shaft shop axles. So everything drivetrain related in this thing is meant to just take anything you can throw at it. And obviously again, RTR rear bar, which we have disconnected right now because we were running it at park last. And I wanted a lot more side bite. So you can remove the sway bar, gives you some more side bite. Again, this car being really heavy, getting some extra side bite helps because you're firing it in, you have a lot of grip, you have a lot of power, but you can't necessarily stop it all the time. So getting some extra roll in the rear will help you have some more bite and keep the car a little easier to drive. Got some rear links here for adjusting toe and camber. So you've got that pretty lined up. I typically run like a degree of rear camber on this car, static, which is more than what I'd normally run. But again, it helps with that side bite, helps the car feel a little bit easier to drive at high angle. We got inline handbrake still got EVAP stuff. It's got a bash bar in the rear so you can jack it up and tow it if needed. Dual 3-inch exhaust. But again, like as you see, it's really just like almost like the old school Japanese style build, where it's like we just added drift parts onto the car. We didn't build a whole drift car, you know.
Right.
Add angle, add some grip, get all the adjustability the way you want, but then make sure the drivetrain is just nuke-proof, you know. So yeah, that's pretty much it underneath. I'll drop it down and do a quick tour of the inside.
Cool.
So on the inside, it's pretty much a stockish Mustang. Obviously the gearbox is a little bit different, so we have a different shifter on here. But SFI shift boot, handbrake, and radio controls so that we can talk during demos. And then if you look, the handbrake's actually inside the console back here. That way we're able to kind of hide it, make it look a little bit more factory. But still got navigation, still got Bluetooth, still got steering wheel controls. One funny thing is, it was pre-production, so it was sent out to a bunch of magazines to shoot. So when they do that, they send them out with your sequential shifters there and your manual gearbox, so that when they take photos, they have both. But yeah, everything still works, everything but AC pretty much. And then we put some Recaros in it. They're RTR Recaros, and some Takata belts, just really to hold you in a little bit better. And we lost our heated and AC seats that way, which was kind of a bummer, but I'd rather be held in the car a little bit better.
Yeah.
And then it's got a roll bar added to it, 1 3/4 bolt-in setup, rear seat delete from Ford Motorsports, and that's pretty much it. It's pretty simple. I mean, they work so well, like out of the box, like, and all this stuff just works. So we just, you know, keep it simple, nice. Oh, there you go. P1, the first new body RTR Mustang. We got Mr. Vern Gryffindor signed on there too. So this started its life off as a Spec 2 production car, or not production car, pre-production car that went out to magazines and all that. And then we turned it into a demo car. So this is probably one of the oldest new body Mustangs in existence. It's probably 7 or so years old. So it's pretty sweet. So with something like this, we obviously want to keep it as simple as possible, especially because I crash it all the time. So the wheels are just off the shelf centerline wheels, but we've made spacers to get them to the correct offset. So the front has like a 2-inch spacer on it, if you see here, which creates this down to like a 0 offset front wheel. This is absolutely huge wheel spacer. But if you think that's huge, in the rear, there's a 3-inch wheel spacer. They're 3-inch spacers, yo, but I keep them clean. So if you see in the rear, that makes this down to like a negative 15 to fit the wide body. And it's simply because otherwise we'd have to build custom wheels, and then every time we need a replacement, we'd need another custom wheel.
Right.
And another custom wheel. And Centerline is really good to us, and they make awesome parts, but at the same time, we want to keep it as simple as possible. So it's easy for me. Damage a wheel, hey, send another one of those, boom, it's there. I don't have to wait a month to get one custom made. So again, something that kind of intrigues me with like builds like this is like, there's builds where we build everything custom and everything to the T exactly how we want. And if someone doesn't make the product, we make it ourselves. And then there's cars where we want it to be simple, bolt on, and just be able to be driven and enjoyed.
We're zeroed out.
My guess, 39.25.
39.25. So completely stock interior. It basically just
The
missing.
seats are probably lighter than stock.
But they're the Ford Recaros, right? Or are they aftermarket Recaros?
I think they're aftermarket cars.
Okay, because you can get like the factory Ford
Maybe
Recaros.
they are that then.
Yeah.
They're RTR seats, I don't know.
Oh, okay, so they're the factory Ford Recaros, just RTR.
Probably.
Okay.
And then there's no rear seat.
And then you don't have AC pump and condenser, but like all the stuff under the dash is still there.
Correct. Navi, everything.
Oof. And what'd you say?
Power doors, power locks, everything.
Oh, and you have a 9-inch. Yeah, you have a 9-inch.
And a Magnum,
Oh, yeah. What was your guess?
39.25.
You know, I'm going to say 38.40 because
we've been over every time.
Yeah. I would say I'm changing my guess up this time.
Yeah, see
Hey.
that? Pat Gooden got me this.
Oh.
Bad girl. I don't even know what this is. Maybe a catch tank or something, but
Okay.
everything else is stock, and nothing. So just added roll bar and all that stuff.
Can you fit in there with that wide girl?
This thing's huge.
Yeah.
It doesn't drive super big though. Like to me, an S197 drives bigger than these do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just when you come to like put them on a trailer or something and then you're like, ooh.
Like it barely fits on my trailer.
Oh yeah. Put it on a lift, put it on a trailer, anything like that.
All right. Let's see what we got. You're technically supposed to roll the car,
Yeah.
but
Give it a few
I'm
bounces.
not actually setting it up. I'm just curious. Like even this still works.
All right. Ooh.
Auto window. We were over again. 3720. My scales, dude. That's dude, and the weight is really not bad.
No.
That's pretty. I mean, 9 pounds off in the rear, 8 pounds off in the rear, and 15 pounds off in the front.
Yeah, so again, for people at home, the front left, front right, rear right. So these numbers are the weights in pounds, and then this is the percentage underneath them.
Yeah.
And then obviously the total down here.
Yeah, so if you look, it's like a 2% split, or 0.2% split in the rear, and just actually a third of a percent split in the front. So this car, with me and a passenger that are similar weight, would be pretty balanced out.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty pumped on that. It's actually lighter than I thought it was.
Yeah. I mean, it undershot our guesses. So.
To be honest, though, it has a completely empty tank of fuel.
Oh yeah.
I can't even imagine it's gotten in and out of the shop a few times because like the gauge goes like this and sweeps when you turn it on, and it goes back to the same spot as 0. So I have to put some fuel in it. I just don't have any here. I literally only usually have diesel here for our heater and our tractor. Most of the other things, when I leave the track and I drive home, on the way home, I fill the car up.
Yeah.
So yeah, 37.35. That's actually, like I said, not too bad. It makes our comp cars with me in it, which is the same car, are 31.50. So they're significantly lighter, about 700-ish pounds lighter. So, but yeah, but still, being that it's, I feel like that's the factory weight.
Yeah.
And we've done nothing but add weight to it. Between wheel spacers and the 9-inch and the transmission, and we've probably taken a little bit of weight out of the clutch and flywheel, which we did on the TI as well.
Oh, okay,
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, sweet.
Cool.
yeah, I'm gonna do this. But yeah, I'm gonna do this a few more times with some of the other cars we have over the next few weeks. That way you guys can kind of see some of the cars I have and what we use them for and ways that I enjoy them. I enjoy this car because it just starts up, you put gas in it and change the tires, and like it's been like that for the last 12,745 miles. Just hammering the absolute crap out of it over and over again. So should be fun.
Sick.
See you guys.